Welcome back to Tort Talk. I'm your host, Marc Rioux. I am accompanied by the one and only Joe Fantini. We are back for another busy week in the world of mass torts, where we have a monumental ruling from the Supreme Court in the Roundup litigation that we've all been waiting for. Things are heating up in the Uber litigation with some interesting wrinkles developing. The Uber board is sued by the shareholders for failing to comply with compliance requirements. A huge win in the Bair litigation and breaking social media addiction news. Joe, welcome back. Let's get into it.
Let's do it, Mark.
All right, Roundup. This is the talk of the town. It is rare that a mass tort reaches the Supreme Court, but we just had that. And in a huge 7-2 ruling, the court found that the federal pesticide law preempts the failure to warn state claims. What does this mean, and where do we go from here, Joe?
Yeah, like you said, Mark, huge ruling. We've been waiting for this for a while. Didn't come down in our favor, but we were expecting this.
Yep.
As we talked about last week, even though we lost on this failure to warn claim, there's other causes of action that are still out there. They're still alive. We have the negligence claim and the design defect. And I also want to remind everybody, in every single case we go against, in every drug, in every device case, they try to play the preemption defense. So we've beat it back in other litigations. I'm not going to say this wasn't a bad ruling for us. It was, but we expected it. And there's ways to get around it and move the cases forward. So as everybody knows, we have this Missouri class action ongoing right now. A little bit of breaking news. There was supposed to be the final approval hearing on July 9th. That got pushed back.
Uh-oh.
The court's going to allow people who were objecting to fully brief the issue, and also the parties to address, the remand from federal court. So no indication right yet that that's going to get blown up, but I'm sure Monsanto is doing everything in their power to get out of it. Hoping to have the hearing scheduled before the end of July and that go through, but not a great day for the plaintiffs. We can still survive this, so it's not the end all be all. Don't be worried. We'll be able to come out on top.
Yep, and they don't call you the Oracle for nothing, Joe. You predicted this coming down the pipe, that this ruling was not going to be in our favor. Well, we hoped it would be. You predicted it would not. So put plans in place accordingly, but hopefully this continues to move along.
Yeah, not what we wanted, but what we expected. So we'll keep going. We'll be all right.
All right, moving on to some good and interesting news. Uber, the rideshare giant, is facing thousands of cases in a Bellwether trial set to start off or kick off in September. And there's also reports that hundreds of these cases have settled. Now, a lawsuit has been brought by a pension fund about the Uber board's claims it cut corners to the compliance. This is an interesting wrinkle. What are your thoughts here on this development?
Yeah, it just goes to what we always talk about here on the John and Mark podcast about this multi-prong attack. Mm-hmm. So now there's fighting from within, right? People who've invested in Uber, they're losing money because of these lawsuits. They're suing the board. They're suing the CEO, saying you guys didn't follow with the compliance. And it seems like Uber's getting the message because they just implemented new updates to their driver process. They're not going to allow convicted felons of violent crimes or sexual abuse to be drivers. Shocking. You would have thought they could have done that years ago. Too bad it took thousands of lawsuits, people getting abused and a lawsuit from some investors to get us there. But there's pressure on Uber on all angles. We have the Bellwether trials. We have, the government's looking at them. We have this lawsuit from the shareholders. So I'm thinking we're going to get a resolution in this case, maybe before the end of the year. That's my next big prediction. But a lot of pressure on Uber right now. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get out of this one.
Yep, not a good look when your own board is suing you for not following safety rules.
Yeah, you don't want to get sued by people who are investing in you. So I could imagine us even hearing from a whistleblower pretty soon too, which is going to just blow it up even more. Uber's not happy right now.
And I love the positioning. I was going to ask you about it, that they have that. Look at all these safety improvements we're doing for screening our drivers to make the platform even safer. We're doing it out of the goodwill of our heart for no other reason besides that.
Yeah, they just thought it was a good time to roll all that stuff out. Has nothing to do with the litigation, nothing to see here.
All right, moving on. Bair one of the legacy mass torts we've been talking about for a while. Plaintiffs just scored a huge win when a Texas state court granted plaintiffs' request for a new trial. What can you tell us about this case?
Yeah, so again, we got the multi-pronged attack going on in this bear hugger litigation.
It's been going on forever.
Yeah, almost 10 years now. And so this case, it was Kelso. It was in Texas State Court. It was about a month-long trial, and it ended in a verdict for the defendants. Surprisingly, it was a good case for us. The plaintiffs filed a motion for a new trial, said the jury instruction was confusing and incorrectly stated the law. And that was just heard by the court, and the court just came down and granted us a new trial. That's huge for us. We get some more pressure on 3M. Trial hasn't been rescheduled. Hoping we can get it in this year, but likely next year, and get some more pressure on bear hugger litigation, because 3M definitely hasn't felt much in that litigation yet.
Exciting. Once again, like you said, this is definitely in the legacy mass tort realm. Hope to get some closure on this or move towards closure for those plaintiffs or clients who have been sitting out there who have been injured for a while. 10 years is a long time.
Yeah, it sure is.
All right, moving on. Social media addiction. We talk a lot about the individual personal injury cases, but a ruling just came down in the MDL related to the lawsuit filed by 29 U.S. Attorney Generals. How does this impact the overall litigation?
Another win for the plaintiffs. So social media addiction, the defendants are up against it. We got the individual cases, we got the school district cases, now the AG. So
talk about pressure.
The social media giants, they filed the motion to dismiss. The judge just came down. The MDL judge denied the motion to dismiss, found actually in summary judgment that Meta failed to comply with certain states' notice and parental consent requirements, said there was an issue of material fact about whether or not the platforms were addictive. That issue is going to the jury. So we're scheduled to have the first trial of a couple states later this summer. Right now it's scheduled towards the end of August. So just like Uber, we're having a lot of pressure getting on these social media giants. I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be able to withstand this. So things are looking up in that litigation as well.
But like you said, Joe, the multi-pronged approach, keep the pressure on, is way to go. The interesting wrinkle, I think, of this is multiple U.S. attorney generals or state attorney generals filing suit. And also they are hiring some plaintiffs firm like the Linear Law Firm to lead many of these litigations, have experience in this instead of trying to go at them themselves. So they're enlisting the ranks of experienced mass tort attorneys to help try these at the state level and the federal level for them to move them along and increase their chances of winning and keeping the pressure on. It's a very interesting angle I see in this case.
Yeah, that is a newer technique. We probably first saw it most in the opioid litigation. So that was kind of the framework for that. We're going to see it in AFFF. But yeah, who else would you want to bring in than the attorneys that are leading the charge here? They have the information. They know the facts. So this is a good development, a lot of pressure. So hopefully we'll be talking about a settlement before the end of 2026 in this one.
I hope to see it. Well, that's a wrap. We're going into 4th of July. Do you have any fun plans, Joe?
I'm going down the shore because I'm from Philadelphia. So that's what we do. We go down the shore. How about you?
I'm here in Peachtree City enjoying the 4th of July with my family. And then for anyone who's still listening in, we will have a surprise guest, hopefully next week. No guarantees on the show. Listen in to see who it is.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks, Joe. See you next week.